Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?
My dog went flying through the air over the tree. I don't know how it did it.
Okay.
Deep in Bigfoot territory. Episode 20, Cryptid Reports from Germany. This is a Squatch Mafia documentary. Welcome to this episode of Bigfoot territory. Today, we continue our journey through the history of cryptozoology in Europe. In episode 16, we already explored Norse and Germanic mythology on trolls and similar Bigfoot-like cryptids, especially from ancient Scandinavia, like the Beowulf saga, for example. But tales from Europe that could potentially be interpreted as Bigfoot encounter stories continue into modern times. Today, we will focus on cryptids in Germany, examining both historical and recent reports. In Germany, there is a long tradition of myths and legends about strange creatures. These stories were often part of medieval and early modern superstition, recorded in chronicles and folk tales. Probably no other European people are as steeped in superstition about witches, trolls, and werewolves, which has led to multiple widespread panics and hysteria about dark, hidden forces among the German people, from the medieval witch trials to the Holocaust. The dark mountains and vast forests of Germany have been the site of encounters with strange hominid creatures since ancient times. Some of the forests between the Alps and the North Sea are remnants of the so-called Hercynian forest, deriving from the Proto-Celtic word for heartland or heart forest. This ancient and dense woodland once stretched across Western and Central Europe, from northeastern France to the Carpathian Mountains, including most of Germany. The Harz Forest, a wooded highland area in central and northern Germany, and the Black Forest in southwestern Germany, are two of the largest remaining parts of this ancient and vast forest. Since early medieval times, countless reports of werewolves and trolls have been documented in these regions. Beside the witch trials, which claimed more lives in Germany than in any other country, a real werewolf hysteria haunted the German people during the Middle Ages and the early modern period. Between the 14th and the 17th century, nearly 300 so-called werewolf trials are documented in German archives. One of the most prominent cases is a werewolf trial in the small German village of Bedburg in the late 1580s, where a man named Peter Stubbe was executed by decapitation before his remains were burned. Stubbe was accused of killing 16 people between 1565 and 1589, while roaming the nocturnal forests in the shape of a giant wolf. Documented stories and folk tales about trolls or wildman are also numerous from the early medieval times on, especially from the forested and rural areas of Germany. From the Black Forest region alone, more than 20 different folk tales about trolls have been collected by 19th century philologists and scholars. The beings in these stories resemble the Sasquatch of North America and are described as giant-sized, hair-covered humans who often emit a foul, rotten stench. They are often said to live in caves in the mountains or deep forests. In some folk tales, they are depicted as stealing maidens or children, usually to eat them. Like the Black Forest, the Harz Forest in northern Germany has been the site of encounters with many strange hominid cryptids since ancient times, from dwarf-like little people and giant wolves to Bigfoot-like trolls and wildmen. And strange encounters continue to be reported from these forests to this day. The Harz Forest covers an area of approximately 860 square miles, with a length of 70 miles and a width of 25 miles. It features the highest elevations in the region, with rugged terrain extending across parts of Lower Saxony, Saxony-Anhalt, and Thuringia. The Brocken is the highest summit in the area, standing at 3,700 feet above sea level. The mountain is known as the center of witches' revelry on Walpurgis Night since ancient pagan times, and was known from Scandinavia to the Alps. Rock formations on the mountain peak are known as the Devil's Pulpit and the Witch's Altar. Legends of wildmen, trolls, and werewolves have been told in these landscapes as long as people can remember. For more than 6 years, since the summer of 2018, reports of encounters with a strange cryptid have been emerging from the small village of Blankenberg in the Harz Forest. Dozens of encounters and incidents have been reported to the police and local authorities by the residents of the village. Local news outlets uncovered that the first police report on a hair-covered man in the forests around Blankenberg dates back to 2018. The residents and media refer to the creature as the Wolfman of Blankenberg. The local police tried to capture the mysterious wolfman in the forests numerous times, but failed. The most recent hunt for the wolfman by German police occurred in March 2023. After a resident called the authorities on the evening of March 25, 2023. After that, police told a local newspaper that these sightings have been recurring for about 5 years. The reports describe a person covered in hair or fur, with slightly longer brownish hair, probably someone in a costume. An interview with an eyewitness provided the following statement. "Yes, there is this man. I saw him 3 months ago. He seemed to be covered in hair, and his face somehow reminded me of a Neanderthal from a history book. He immediately disappeared into the forest when he saw me." Primitive shelters made of branches and twigs, as well as other tree structures, have also been found and reported in the forests around Blankenberg and the wider area. Also, the sandstone caves in the forests outside the village have been reported as a hotspot for sightings of the creature in the last 5 years. Local authorities stated the following. "This person has been a concern for us for at least 5 years. There have been recurring sightings of someone wearing a wolf pelt or a wolf costume, along with rumors that people might be living in the forests." In August 2023, the story took a dramatic turn. On the 22nd of August 2023, 2 hikers captured a shocking photo of the creature the locals named the Wolfman of Blankenberg. The couple was hiking near the sandstone caves in the late afternoon of the 22nd of August when they saw a creature sitting on one of the caves. They described the creature as a naked man, the entire body covered in thin brown hair. They said the appearance of the creature was somehow dirty, and it resembled that of a caveman. They described the face of the man as very caveman-like and primitive, and somehow apish. The 2 witnesses stood about 16 yards away from the cave on which the creature was sitting. It seemed the creature was using a stone to carve something into the ground while holding a spear-like branch in the other hand. As the strange creature became aware of the observing couple, it slowly stood up and looked at the shocked witnesses. After a short moment, the creature turned and slowly walked into the forest, while the hikers immediately fled the forests in shock. In total, the encounter lasted for nearly 5 minutes. Let's take a look at the photo the couple took before fleeing the scene. When we zoom into the photo, we can clearly see how thin and gaunt the figure is. The arms and legs both seem extremely skinny. The arms and legs also appear unusually long, possibly too long for human proportions. The creature seems to be naked and is indeed covered with thin black and brownish hair, as reported. It seems to be unlikely that the figure in the photo is wearing a costume, nor does the hair or fur look like normal body hair of a human. The left foot also looks unusual and strange, somewhat resembling a paw. Perhaps the most interesting feature in the photo is the face of the so-called wolfman. The face appears strangely non-human, especially around the mouth. The creature seems to have a snout instead of a regular mouth, a feature that would be hard to fake with a mask or a costume. The brow ridge of the creature seems to be very pronounced, giving the face a caveman or ape-like appearance. It seems possible that the so-called Wolfman of Blankenberg in the Harz Forest in Germany could very well be a member of a hidden population of relic hominids or a different kind of cryptid. The photo was published in the German Yellow Press in August 2023, and the case gained some notoriety. Various researchers and journalists explored the forests around the village of Blankenberg, the sandstone caves, and the wider area for weeks. Since August 2023, no further encounters with the creature have been made public. Interestingly, another village in the forest, only a few miles north of Blankenberg, has been named Wildman since medieval times. Chronicles mention the village under this name as early as 1529. Today, the village has 800 residents. References to the Wildman can be found throughout the entire area. And the village's emblem is also intriguing. The tale of the village's founding is fascinating. As the story goes, miners were sent into the inhospitable wilderness of the Harz Forest in 1529 to establish a settlement for mining silver. As they ventured deeper into the wilderness, they reached a remote valley where they not only found silver deposits in the ground, but also encountered a pair of wildmen, a male and a female, who seemed to inhabit the remote valley. After attempts at communication with the wildmen failed, the couple was hunted down by the miners and ultimately killed with arrows. In this valley, the village of Wildmen was founded. The next cryptid encounter story from Germany we are going to take a look at comes from about 75 miles south of the Harz Forest and dates back to 2009. The encounter took place in the Reinhards Forest, situated in central Germany, 10 miles north of the city of Kassel. The forest covers around 80 square miles. The region is home to the Brothers Grimm and to the Headless Horseman from the legend of Sleepy Hollow. The collection of medieval stories and folk tales that made the Brothers Grimm famous also includes various tales about witches, wild man, and trolls. The forest has been steeped in old German legends since ancient times. As mentioned earlier, the encounter took place in 2009 in the Reinhards Forest, near the village of Gieselwerder, where two men observed a bizarre creature in the nocturnal forest. The men described the cryptid as a strange-looking hairy man, who somehow looked wolf-like. In September 2009, the two men were spending a weekend at a campsite outside the village of Gieselwerder. When night fell, they decided to take a walk in the nearby forest. As they wandered through the nightly forest, they noticed a dark figure sitting on the ground among the trees. It seemed as though the creature was devouring something. The men observed the creature for a few minutes until it noticed the two wanderers. As the creature saw the men, it stood up and stared at them, before turning around and disappearing into the forest. The men described the creature as around 6 feet tall, muscular, and covered with black fur or hair. They said the creature moved bipedally and very fast, reminding them of a werewolf. The men decided not to follow the creature into the forest and returned to the campsite. The next morning, they returned to the place of the nocturnal encounter. As they reached the place in the forest, they found the bloody remains of a chicken at the spot the creature was sitting the night before. But beside that, no further tracks of the creature were found. This encounter happened 6 years before the first documented sighting of the so-called Wolfman of Blankenberg. The two locations are only 75 miles apart, suggesting a possible connection between the cases. It could be that the same cryptid or the same group of cryptids is responsible for the sightings in both areas. Also, the same kind of tree structures as in the Harz Forest were found in the Reinhards Forest. The described behavior of the creatures in both cases also appears to be similar. Another incident from the region has been reported in 2010 at the Bromsberg Mountain, 15 miles south of the city of Kassel. Two wanderers were chased out of the forests of the Bromsberg Mountain at night, by a creature which screamed at them with immense volume. The screams resembled a mixture of the screams of a woman in agony and a goat. No exact description of the creature has been reported. See the links in the video description for more Bigfoot and cryptid videos from Europe. What is your opinion on the stories from Germany? Have you heard of similar reports from Germany or another European country? And what is your opinion on the photo of the Wolfman? Do you think the photo is legit? Let me know in the comments. Hit the like button if you have enjoyed this episode of Bigfoot Territory. Subscribe to the Squatch Mafia channel at YouTube for more videos on Bigfoot and Sasquatch. Check out Squatch Mafia at Patreon and TikTok for extra content. Thank you for watching.